Hello, my name is Ling Ling, and I'm here at the Women's Forum Asia. With us, we have a special guest, Chetna Sinha, the founder of Mann Deshi Bank. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, and it's my pleasure to be here.
It's our honor to have you on the podcast. I enjoyed your talk at the panel at the Women's Forum Asia, and the panel is about Up with Inclusion, how businesses can take a stand for inclusive growth. And Georgette, who was the moderator, said you are the rock star of NGOs with your Mandeshi Bank. So, for our listeners who are not familiar with Mandeshi Bank, can you tell them a little bit about it and how it came about?
So, nearly 25 years back, when um, I was teaching economics in Mumbai, and at the same time, I was working with the Gandhian organization where young people were invited and attracted to work in rural India, villages of India. So, I got really interested, and I used to go to the villages and work with women in India. And then there I met a farmer, my, I mean, who was not very educated, not highly educated, but who could pull the crowd of village. And he was working for women, poor women, to get water and the work wage wages. So I started working with him, fell in love with him, decided to marry him, and I then thought I'm done with Mumbai. Left Mumbai and went to his village. When I was staying with him, I met a woman named Kantabai. She was street vendor. She was sharpening weeds and giving that service to the farmers. Didn't have a house. She was doing her business on the street and staying with her family also on the street. She came to me and she said that I want to do savings. My first question to her was that, do you have enough money to save? You don't even have a house to stay. But she kept on saying that I'm staying on the street with my family, and in summer it is so hot. There is nearly 47 degrees Celsius. And in summer, I want a shelter for my kids, and I want to buy a tarpaulin sheet, and for that, I want to do savings. I I realize Kantabai is not asking any money, not even she's saying I'm poor, I need this. What she's asking is an opportunity to save her hard earned money. I thought she has all the rights for that. And so then I went with her to different banks to open her saving account, open a Kantabai saving account. Bank said that she's she wants to save daily less than half cent a day. She's not an affordable client for us, and they denied opening her account. I felt she has all the right to have a banking account. Why not start a bank for women like Kantabai? And we applied for the banking license. And our women, we had to give a proposal to the Central Bank of India with all the details about these women, their addresses, their business, their education, where they are staying. So when it came to the signature, they had a thumb impression because they were not literate. And so we gave a proposal to the central bank, and it was rejected on the ground that you cannot start a bank with whose promoting members are non-literate. I was devastated. I was coming from Mumbai to my village, Maswad. I was weeping. And I told our women that, we couldn't get the license because our women were not literate. They couldn't read and write. You know what women said? That we couldn't get the license because we cannot read and write. Why are you crying? We will learn to read and write from today. And our literacy classes started from the very day. When I saw the confidence in them, then we decided maybe after 5 months we should apply again. I wasn't sure that we'll get the license or not. But I could see the confidence of women. So I thought it is important for them to meet those officers and face them. And so after 5 months, We applied again, and at that time I didn't go alone. With me, 15 women accompanied to Mumbai to Central Bank of India. I wasn't sure what they are going to say, but I could see they were very excited about everything. And when we went and entered the director's office, our women said that to the officer that you rejected the license because we cannot read and write. But they said we cannot read and write, but we can count. And they challenged the officer saying that tell us to calculate the interest of any principal amount. If we fail, don't issue the license. Tell your officers to do it without calculator and see who can calculate faster. So our meeting then went on for 2 hours because the officer really got interested and was listening to women. And we came back. We were not sure what will happen. But after 3 months, we got by post because it was a very remote area and there were no telecommunication. So Reserve Bank were trying to call us that we have issued the license, but so they registered. They did a posting under registration, and I got a message from Reserve Bank that this is a first license which we have sent by post because you guys didn't come back, and it was just like a history. And yeah, we got the license, and now we are one of the largest rural women's bank of India. We have more than 500,000 women banking with us. And our total cumulative figures of our working capital is more than $100 million. And there is no investor, outside investor. It is all women savings, women capital, and women loan. So this is Mandeshi Bank.
It is such an inspiring story because you shared this on your panel, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, these women have a lot of courage, they have a lot of confidence, and I can't help but wonder where does this courage and confidence of the women came from? Because for me, I am a female entrepreneur, and there are days where I feel not confident and not courageous at all. So, can you share with us a little bit about the women that were involved in the Mandeshi Bank?
So let me tell you another story of women. Mm, she's Kerabai. She must be like in 70s. She does banking with us. And one day she came to the bank and she said that she was mortgaging gold and taking loan. So I asked her that why are you mortgaging gold and taking loan? She said that I want to buy a fodder, grass for my animals. There is such a bad drought, there is no water. And then she tells me that, if we leave this area in search of water, with whom are you going to do banking? After listening to her, I felt she is actually suggesting me a very different model of banking. Banking just does not mean saving, credit, loan. It also means that how during the time of disaster you need to do something, right? So then we decided that we need to get water and fodder for the animals of our women because 90% of the women in rural India, their livelihood is cattle, milk business. And so then we started a cattle camp, and Kirabai was very happy. But what she was doing in the cattle camp, where all the farmers came with the animals, and we were providing fodder and water to the farmers and for animals, she would sing and motivate the farmers. And actually, Mandeshi also has a radio.
Oh,
So we have a community radio. It is managed by our community. And so Kirabai, after, like, she became very popular at the cattle camp. And then she said that, you know what, I want to feature my program at radio. So I told her, why don't you go to the radio manager and talk to her? So she went there and she said, I want to feature my program at radio. And our manager said that, Kirabai, you cannot read and write. How are you going to do this series of program? So she said that I cannot read and write, but I can sing. And why do I need to write when I'm going to sing? I have everything in my brain. And then she started singing on the radio. And believe me, she became a famous radio jockey. And in India, then she was invited by Mumbai radio all over. And then one very famous radio jockey, very famous Bollywood songwriter, Mr. Bakshi, his son, he wrote a book on a chapter on Kirabai. And he asked her that, how did you learn to sing? You know what Kirabai said? She said that actually when I got married at the age of 12, and when I was first time pregnant, I was continuously feeling hungry. But we didn't have enough food to eat. So to forget the hunger, I started singing. I just saw that there's so much of wisdom in these women. They are facing so many obstacles, but still they are so wise and they have been able to retain that wise culture. So these are the women, when I say that like we are banking with these many women, I just find that ordinary women, they have done just extraordinary things.
Yeah. It sounds like the women who are at your bank, they've gone through many obstacles and challenges and somehow found a way to survive, and not to survive, but also to thrive and help grow
Yes.
their businesses and their family. You mentioned something in the panel about not only fighting against poverty, but having to grow prosperity.
Yes.
Yeah.
This I've learned from our women. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you go as a and you decide, oh, people are so poor and they don't know, you assume that you need to advise them. You assume that you need to tell them. You assume that they don't know anything, right? So when we were doing, women didn't come to the bank and they were very busy. So I just asked them that there was so much excitement when we got the banking license. Why don't you come to the bank? And they said that we are working whole day. We don't have time to come to the bank. So we decided to give a doorstep banking. And while we were when we were providing doorstep banking, we also now things have changed in the banking sector. Everything is digital. So we also started a mobile banking. And when we were providing that to our women, so these women said, and obviously there are a lot of technology into it, and how are you going to use your mobile? And of course they know. But so when we were saying that you will have to, the methods change, right? So now you are doing mobile banking, so the PIN number will come. Before they were not given license because they were using thumb, right? And they couldn't sign. Now it is PIN number. So we thought maybe they don't remember, they will not remember PIN number. They said, we don't want PIN number. And we assumed that maybe because they are not educated, they will not remember PIN number. They said, no, no, find some other solution. So then we said that, okay, and we are doing pilot and we are linking our mobile banking with biometric. And when they use the thumb, the same thumb which rejected the license, right? They used the thumb and they said, see, anybody can steal my PIN number, but nobody can steal my thumb. And that was when I saw that. I saw that these women are like, and it was actually, they were teaching me, right, that never provide poor solutions to poor people. They are smart. They are not just thinking beyond poverty, they are thinking of prosperity. They want not only, we talk of access to banking, access to this, access to this. They they will not do it till they are sure that we are going to generate wealth from that. And that wealth can be anything. I mean, why women want control on finance? Because they say we want to educate our children. We want to keep our family healthy. When women come to the bank or women come to the radio, when women come to a foundation, they don't come alone. They come with their families, they come with their communities, and they come with these wise solutions. When we use this biometric, At that time, I realized that many times, like a lot of people, those who innovate, do research, I saw the banking experience of how they dealt with the bank officer, and then in mobile banking, how they suggested us the solution. I felt they have never been to the school, but they are perfect financial engineer, right, our women. And in the similar way, when they use a biometric, they don't know the technology and the technology solutions, but whatever solution they offered is going to work for millions and millions of people who have never had a book and a pen, or have never been to the school, but they are going to use the technology. And so these are my teachers, and the lessons I've learned from them is: one, never provide poor solutions to poor people. Two, these women, they are thinking beyond poverty, they are thinking for prosperity. And for them, prosperity is not for me only, prosperity is for the community. So when they become economically active, the community prospers.
Your story is so beautiful about how the women they started off with a thumbprint on a paper when they don't know how to write, and eventually they have learned how to use the technology to use the same thumbprint to be able to access banking. How ironic that it became like a circle going back to
Yeah.
where it is today. So for our listeners who are also entrepreneurs, who are also women, and maybe not as courageous as the women at your Mandeshi Bank, what advice can you give to them if they want to think beyond poverty and think about prosperity for themselves in the community?
I've just come here from India, and 2 days before we had an annual general meeting of our bank, and all members were there. And I was telling them that, I'm going to Singapore. It's a country of capital. It's a country of, like, so many things. And so I was just telling that what should I go and speak there? And then these women, they said, and we are already in our annual general meeting. We decided that we will launch a fund which is dedicated to women entrepreneurs. And so I just was talking to them that what should I tell, what should I speak here. You know what our women said? That when we started bank, for 5 years, we didn't take a dividend from the profit. We reinvested our dividend and built a very solid, strong institution. So even if you go to these rich people, fine, we want to set up $1 million fund. Don't tell, we are anyway, will figure out and get the investors. We started a bank without any investors. We will get the investors. But tell these investors that, you know, capital, you may have lot of capital, fine. But for us, our courage is the capital. And to all new young entrepreneurs, to all new young vibrant people, I feel that the younger generation is much more open, less biased. I would just like to tell them that your courage is your capital. If you have that, you are going to win the world.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for your time with us, Chetna. I appreciate it.
Thanks. I enjoyed sharing my stories.